To the Chester County Historic Preservation Network's virtual series Live at 5 on the third Thursday of each month through the end of 2021. Kind of excited because I hear that we're headed back to school this evening. Kathleen?
That's right, Jim. Tonight we'll be meeting some enterprising high school students working hard to research and preserve an historic building located right on their school district campus. For the past year, our preservation network has been working with the historical research and preservation class of the Coatesville Area School District. And tonight we'll be having a rare glimpse into the project that has captured the attention of these young preservationists. Let's meet these talented students and the adults working with them right now.
My name is Joseph Tassoni, and I am a teacher at the Coatesville Area Senior High School. I'm also the Social Studies Department Chair, and I am the current teacher of the Historical Research and Preservation Program here on the high school campus.
My name is Lisa Doan Harley, and I am one of the co-creators of the Historical Research and Preservation class at Coatesville Area Senior High School.
My name is Lena McKim, and I co-created the program with Dr. Lisa Doan Harley, and I am currently the secondary social studies coordinator for the school district. I'm really excited to be here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Snyder, and I'm the principal of the Coatesville Area Senior High School and also a former social studies teacher. And I'm so excited to talk about the Gardner-Beale House and see what the students have done. Thank you.
My name is Suzanne Amrich, and I am a preservationist and architectural designer with Archer and Buchanan, and I worked with the students on this project.
Is Dylan Mizaraka. This is my 4th year in the Historical Preservation and Research class, and I'm a senior at Coatesville High School.
I'm Julia Matson, and this is also my 4th year in the class, and I am a senior at Coatesville Area High School.
My name is Mariska Purdick, and I'm a 4-year member and student ambassador of the Historical Research and Preservation class.
I'm Layla Longo. I was a student editor and producer for the video we will see later, and I am a current senior at the Coatesville Area School District.
First, kick this webinar off by thanking Kathleen Hood for having us here. The CCHPN has been really pivotal in supporting us this year in this program. They've helped us connect with preservationists. They helped us connect with the architects like Suzanne, Paul Stevens, and be able to accomplish what we've accomplished this year. So I wanted to kind of start by thanking them and everyone else who's been involved in this program this year, from the students to the teachers and faculty members, parents, community members that have helped us along the way. So this is truly a community effort here at Coatesville. And this program, this is my first year teaching this program. I took the program over from Dr. Doan Harley when she retired in the spring. And it has definitely been a great learning experience. I've seen the Gardner-Beale House. I drive by it every single day. I've heard tidbits about the history of the house and little information here and there. I had never stepped foot in the house before this year. Sometimes I feel like it's my second home right now. But you know, more than the house itself, which you're going to learn a little bit about tonight through the video, is the program that we have here at the high school. The Historical Research and Preservation Program, which was created by Lena and Lisa, is in its 4th year. So the students that are on the panel here with us tonight are year 4 students. They're seniors. They are the first group of students that are graduating that have gone through this program. It's a 4-year course. Students begin in 9th or 10th grade, and they progress through the curriculum. And to see what they have done in this last year, and it really is amazing. And Lisa can tell you how far this program's come in the last 4 years. I'm going to share some slides because I thought it would be really important to give this some context. Now, I wanted to start off by congratulating two of our young preservationists, Dylan Mizuraka and Julia Matson, who are on the webinar with us tonight, are competing at the National History Day National Contest at the end of this month. They placed first in the regional competition. They placed second in the Pennsylvania State competition with their project on V-mail during World War II. So on top of preservation, and a big part of preservation is research. So we are here to instill historical research skills. And one of the ways that we do that is by competing in National History Day. So I want to preface this, that we have two national competitors here on the webinar with us tonight. So when we were speaking about creating the video, we talked about getting drone footage to give some context of where this house sits on the property. We were going to incorporate it into the video, but it just didn't fit into what we did. So I decided to put those drone images that were done by Mark Denny, who is a student here on campus. And another aside, this is a project that is cross-curricular. We have our historical research and preservation program here, but we also have Mark Denny, who's from the ROTC program, who was skilled using a drone, was able to do this for us. We have students that are working in computer-aided drafting to help us draw models, which you'll see in our video. We have the yearbook students were helping us get footage. So it's really an effort across campus to get this, to accomplish what we accomplished this year, and moving forward, it's going to continue to be that way. So this is the front of the Gardner-Beale house, which faces, and then this is kind of, we're going to follow these drone images up and around the house. And one of the great things about this house is in the middle of our campus. So this picture is great to give you some context of where the house sits in relation to the senior high school. This is the senior high school here, just off of the west side of the house. And this long walkway here and doorway is the doorway we come out of when we leave my classroom, which we do often. I say we're going on a field trip today, and we leave my classroom and walk right out to the house to do what we need to do. But some really great images here that we got of the house, and then you'll see some images of the broader campus. This is the west side, which faces the senior high. These are some pictures from above the house. And then there's some great shots of the campus. So this would be if you were standing at the west side of the house looking out at the senior high. There's the 8-9 building over here. The football stadium up on the top of the hill here is the VA hospital. So we kind of get a picture of this area of land, which is all part of the original property, and how it has been developed by the school district over the years. And this is back across to the other side of the 11-12, and we can see baseball and softball fields, parking lots. And then I actually took these pictures today. We went out to do a tour of the house with some of my government students. And I just wanted to give some context. This is us walking out of the 11-12 building to go into this historic building. You're going to learn a little bit about our vision, but our vision, once this is restored, is to turn it into a museum, a repository for local history. And we can lead tours. Students will lead tours for other students from around the district, around the county. And we joked, we said, let's find out how many steps it is. And we did this today. It was 75 steps from the corner of the house to the back door. So that gives you a little bit of context. The video is going to give you a little bit more about the history of the house, the history of this program. So I'm going to share that video with you now. Enjoy. It's about 11 minutes long, and this video was completely done by students. Students shot all of the footage that was needed for it. And Layla, who is on the webinar with us, she was the producer and editor of the video. So I'm going to share that with you now.
Hello, I am Dr. Lisa Doan-Harley, and I am the creator of the Historical Research and Preservation 4-year course at the Coatesville Area Senior High School. In the spring of 2017, the then superintendent of the Coatesville Area School District approached me about moving from middle school history to teach AP History and AP Human Geography classes at the high school. To sweeten the deal, Dr. Tashner offered me an opportunity to create a class about something that I was very passionate about: real historical research and historical preservation. Many adults think that students would be bored and uninterested with another history class. After teaching history for 33 years, I knew that was far from the truth, and if presented in a unique and different way, students would love it. That summer, I, along with my partner, Mrs. Lena McKim, proceeded to write curriculum for a 4-year high school experiential history course. During the 4 years of the course, students would learn how to do historical research by annually participating in National History Day competitions. The students would work toward the end goal of restoring the historic Gardner-Beale house, which is located on the Coatesville Area Senior High School campus. Once restored, the vision is to create a repository of local history from the surrounding townships, boroughs, and the city that comprise the Coatesville Area School District. In addition, to create a learning center and a history lab for visitation by schools, groups, and citizens. The 2020-21 school year marks the 4th year of this course. Students enrolled in year 4 have completed the lessons in research and have gained an understanding of what preservation entails. They have begun to answer the vital questions such as, do we renovate and recreate, or do we preserve and maintain under the rules of the National Historical Trust? It is now time for them to enter and examine the Gardner-Beale house so that they can begin the necessary groundwork that is needed to make the building safe and useful once again to the school, the district, and the community. In addition to working in the classroom, students have presented information about their program and the Gardner-Beale house to the Chester County Historical Society, the Coatesville Metro Historic Project, the Caln Township Historical Society, and several other groups interested in the rich history of Chester County. 2 students serve on the board of directors of the Coatesville Metro Historical Project. There is a great deal of local and county support for this program and a strong desire to see the students have success with the Gardner-Beale house. In year 4, the students have a kind of punch list of actions that need to be completed so that the process of grant writing and eventually renovations can begin. Students have been working on the theoretical needs of the building because they have only been able to access the foyer and the front 2 receiving rooms. They could not access any other areas because the building was filled with refuse. Individuals gained access and dumped unwanted household goods such as old furniture, toys, and a myriad of other things, as well as the school district storage hold. In short, students needed access to the building to achieve the goals of the course. The first thing after school reopened this year was that students organized a Saturday clean-out of the building, which makes architectural measuring, photographing, and plot planning possible. This course allows students to experience history and its preservation with their bare hands, not just in a textbook.
My name is Lena Kim, and I worked with Dr. Doan-Harley to create the curriculum for our 4-year historical research and preservation class. I'm so excited to be a part of this project because, number one, I'm a lifelong resident of Coatesville. I'm a product of the Coatesville Area School District, and I drive past that building every day to come to work, and I just want to see it be brought back to its former glory. Creating the program was really a labor of love for myself and Dr. Doan-Harley. We did lots of research into different programs around the country. We focused especially on a program out of Brooklyn, New York that is very interdisciplinary, it's very artistic in its approach, and it's very welcoming to people of lots of different skill levels, and that's what we envisioned for this project here at the Gardner-Beale House. We want to include as many students from as many different backgrounds and as many different interests as possible to create a heritage center here on the campus that will benefit not only the elementary school students here, but the entire community. We would love to see the Gardner-Beale House be a place where students can come to learn about Coatesville and Pennsylvania history, and where alumni can come and have alumni functions, and where the community can come for meetings. We want to bring the house back to a more vital state.
My name is Joseph Tassoni. I am a social studies teacher at the senior high school. I'm also the chair of the history department, and I am now the teacher for the historical research and preservation courses. When you learned that you were going to retire, how did you feel and how did you make the decision to hand the course over?
First, I cried. I've been a teacher for 36 and a half years and intended to keep going, and it became impossible for me to continue to teach. And I was talking to Mrs. Kim, and I said, if you'll help him, I said, we have to get Mr. Tassoni to do this because he has the passion to take on this class, because it is something different. It's not textbook learning, and there's no book to follow, there's no script to follow, and you had to be a person willing to go in all different directions to try to find ways to make the class successful. And I have the utmost confidence that you will take this into the future for many years.
Well, I have to say, when you and Lena McKim approached me about teaching the course, I was apprehensive at first. I knew that this was such an important project, and I wasn't sure if I was the right person for it. And I as the chair of the department, I kind of felt a responsibility of making sure that this continued. Once I got in the classroom, there was a lot of doubts in the beginning of the year. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I didn't know if we're going to be able to get in the building. I didn't know if we're going to be able to conduct a clean out. So there's a lot of question marks early on. But once the students got back onto campus, once we were able to build momentum through the clean out, we got the architectural firm from Archer Buchanan to come in, Suzanne Amrick. Paul Stevens from the federal government was here to help us with that survey. I saw the possibilities. It just kind of opened up and the light bulb went off, and I said, this is what we are going to continue to do. We're just going to continue to follow what needs to be done for that house, to restore it, to preserve it for future generations. And my vision is to be a facilitator of that, an organizer. I don't know everything, but I am going to continue to rely on you and your vast knowledge of local history, and I'm still in the process of learning all that, and I'm excited to continue that process.
The Gardner-Beale House of today sits on a Penn land grant of 1681, in which the land was purchased by Ralph Witherell in England from William Penn. He willed this land to his brother, who would later come to America and settle for a short time in what is now Delaware County. Many early Quakers were land speculators, and this property changed hands numerous times before anyone actually built anything on it. From Ralph Witherell, it passed to his brother John, and then on to other Delaware County families like the Beezers and the Wardens, until 1703, when it was purchased by Pierre Bazilion, otherwise known as Peter Bazilion, a French fur trapper who married and settled down on the property. Many of the first buildings were of log, and nothing remains of them on the surface. It is believed that the oldest part of the house is built on the old log house foundation. We know from Peter's will that he had at least 8 enslaved workers who lived on this property. The Bazilions had no children, so the original 500-acre plot was bequeathed to Mary Bazilion's nephew. Through his daughter, the house passed into the Gardner family through marriage. The Gardners would improve the property and build the, as they called it, new house, or the front portion, in 1811. The carpentry of the house was done by Ishmael Jeffries, and a young French craftsman was brought in from Philadelphia to do the cornice and mantel carvings in the front parlor. The house was quite the showplace, and the Gardners were very, very proud. Over-speculating caused the Gardners to finally lose the property, which was then purchased by the Beale family, who would sell it and 30 acres in 1964 to the United States government, who would in turn build the Veterans Affairs Facility. The VA would then, for $1, sell the house and the present campus of the Coatesville Area Senior High School to the Coatesville School District. Many speculations have been made about the house being part of the Underground Railroad, but no evidence has proved positive yet. The students of the Historical Research and Preservation classes may very well prove or
There is our video, and I'd like to start our discussion out by asking Layla Longo, who was the lead editor on that video, a few questions. Layla, we had amassed a large amount of material for this video. We took pictures. I took lots of pictures. The students took pictures, video. We kind of dumped it all into a Google Drive and said, here you go, make a video. How did you go about deciding what footage and what pictures to use in this video?
So I knew obviously that it would be super important to have the co-creators talk a little bit about the course. And since Dr. Dawn Harley created the course and pretty much the house has become like her child, I knew it would be super important to have her really discuss everything that was going on the past 4 years, going on now. And I just wanted to really encapsulate all of the fond memories and all of the good experiences that has happened over the past 4 years. It also definitely helped that I was in the course my 10th grade year. It didn't fit into my schedule, so I couldn't continue it, but I was able to use some of the knowledge that I had gained from that 1 year I was in the course.
I know throughout the process, we hit some snags in putting the video together, and I was popping my head down to check in on you all the time and probably annoying you. But what were some of the difficulties and how did you go about overcoming those in creating this video?
The biggest was technology. Technology was not on our side for the creation. It was definitely difficult. There were typical difficulties with figuring out how to download some of the larger files, but kind of technical stuff. But it was also, COVID played a part into it. I am a virtual student, so it was kind of hard to be virtual and have to deal with everything. But we were able to do with what we could and make the video the best it could be.
Well, thank you. We enjoyed it, and we're going to cherish that, and we're going to use that video and show it to as many people as we can to build support for what we're doing here. So we appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask some of the panelists to share their role in this project. So I wanted to start with someone who I spent a lot of time with on Zoom and in person, and she's just been a wonderful resource for myself, being this my first year teaching this course, and for the students. She's zoomed into our classes on multiple occasions. I think she's been on campus with us at least 5 times to help with our building survey, and to help with everything that we're doing here. And that's Suzanne. And I just wanted Suzanne to talk a little bit, if you could please talk a little bit about what you walked into and when we first started this conversation way back in probably November, and what you've done since you've been here and what you've learned.
Thanks, Joe. It's been a pleasure to help the class with this project. And I think it's a wonderful program and a great opportunity for the students. So coming into this, your class was able to provide a written history of the building that they spent the first 3 years of the program putting together. And that was very thorough. And so we looked at that, and then I came out to look at the house with you, and you organized the great cleanup of the house. And then we went and we just really started to educate your students using the National Park Preservation Briefs on visual aspects of historic building and building investigations and historic structures reports. We shared those with the students, and we really kind of broke those down into how you investigate a building and how you measure it and what goes into a historic structures report. And then I shared the Historic American Building Survey Guide to field documentation with your students. And we did a number of exercises, them using those guidelines to measure a space in their house. And we taught them how to photograph a historic resource and did exercises with that. And then we finally got into the field, and we were met with snow and rain and turkey vultures. And so, yeah, it was great. It was great to have the network provide some assistance as far as people there to help. And I know that Paul Stevens came out and he did a presentation of the students on dating with using nail history, and it was really great. And the students took field measurements, and then your students drafted them up. So it was great.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. We took what we learned from you and we continued that process because we realized, I think we had 4 dates scheduled where Suzanne came, Suzanne, Paul Stevens, and Diane Cram, who I can't thank enough because she really helped us a lot. And we took what we learned from you, and we were able to go out there, most days of the week, and we're like, we have a lot of measurements we need to make. And then, we're going out there, we're not just taking measurements, just for the fun of it. We're feeding this information to another one of our students, Ryan Mendenhall, who is also a year 4 student. And he's still in the process of, and you saw some of the footage of the drawing that he's doing of the building. So he's been working on that for the last month, using the measurements that we've made. So everyone has played a role in this, and from students helping us clear out debris from the back of the building so that we could actually make measurements, to the students making the measurements, to students drawing the sketches, and all the way up. So we couldn't have done what we did this year without your help. So thank you so much.
Well, it's great. It's been great to help. And I know that you have a lot of work moving forward, but I hope that I was able to give the students and you a path forward with getting there. So.
Absolutely. I wanted to come back around to Lisa. I wanted to ask you, you've seen, you retired this year, and you've been in this is the 4th year that this program has run. can you talk a little bit just about how you've seen this course develop and where we are right now as compared to where we were 4 years ago?
We realized that this was going to be a difficult task to get things moving. And so we did a lot of work with the groundwork, getting information, learning about Bulletin 15, which is a list of rules from the National Historical Trust. And we're just set to jump on the actual physical things when COVID hit. So that really put a damper on it. And you were amazing being able to get things even during COVID. And so when we first were able to allow students to, put their hands to the material, the building, you were ready to go for it. Both Lena McKim and I, we looked at each other and said when we were writing this is going to take a long time. This is not something that will be done in the 4 years. So those seniors who are departing the class this year, they're passing the baton on to the juniors and the sophomore. This is an ongoing thing. And even when you get finished and you have the Gardner-Beale Heritage Center, we've already had people from other buildings within the area saying, hey, can we be next? So it's kind of started a momentum. Now the big thing is, and I know the class had a mini lesson on grant writing. The next thing is, getting the funding to be able to do the big things. And once, and that's kind of hard to do when you're not a grant writer and when you're not a person who's, used to asking for money or who to ask. So the students are learning that too, which is an excellent skill for life, no matter what they happen to go into later, even if it's not preservation. So I'm pleased with the position of the class now. With a year, virtually 12 months of no school attendance, it's amazing that they've pushed it far and they haven't given up. And I see only good things for the program. And I'll be there cheering you on.
Thank you. Michelle Snyder, who's our principal, and Michelle and I have worked together for 13 years. She is social studies to the core. And I went down to Michelle at some point earlier in the year. There was a lot of not knowing, a lot of doubting if we were going to be able to get to the building. And she was really supportive in everything we've done. And I said, we got to get in that building this year. We have a really great opportunity. There's people that want to come in and help us. And I thank you for that. And Michelle, how do you envision your role or the district's role in this process?
Well, I think the Gardner-Beale House is just such an amazing piece of living history that, our students are so fortunate to have. And the history for our district is just so rich that, I really think that the lasting impact to being able to bring in students from across Chester County to see what we've done and really be on the ground, building this program from the ground up, is just amazing. And we'll do so much to promote history. Not only are you learning about our past locally, but how to go about researching and finding out the truth in history and all that's there. And then, this building is very special to me because for many years it was our district admin office. And my mother worked for the Coatesville School District for 26 years, and that building was her office. And when I was in college, I got to work there in the summers, typing as a clerk, and just, sitting in and looking around at the beautiful woodwork and all of the things that house once was, is just, I'm so excited that we're bringing it back to life personally. So I think it's an asset for our district and our community.
I agree with you on that. We're excited for it. I want to ask one of our students who is really, really pivotal in what we did this year. Mariska, you are a year 4 student. She is our student ambassador. She is always there to help, always, shows up with her camera. She took most of the pictures, I think a lot of the pictures. She was really a pivotal part. What was your favorite part of what we did this year in regards to the Gardner-Beale house?
My favorite thing this year was definitely cleaning out the Gardner-Beale house, because I think a big part of even restoring it is just how much pride Coatesville has and how our history is so important to us. And so when we were actually cleaning out the house, not only did we have teachers that came out and helped, but we also had people from the city of Coatesville that came out and helped. And we even had people that came and collected the metal scraps so we could get rid of them. And I think that just shows how much pride and how much we really want to represent the history of Coatesville well, so other people can see everything that we're seeing. And I think that was a big step towards helping this house become preserved.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, that was the clean out was definitely a milestone, because it allowed us to get in the building and move around. There was just so much stuff in there, office supplies and junk, and it needed to be cleaned out, and it happened. And I scheduled that for a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. We had probably 20 some volunteers who showed up. I was there at 7 in the morning getting things ready. And I'm thinking it's going to take us till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were done cleaning the house out by 10:30, 9 o'clock to 10:30. I mean, it was just amazing. It was really great to see. And it was kind of, for me, it was foreshadowing of things to come, that this is going to be something that not only our school district, but our community can rally around in a positive way. I forgot to mention at the beginning, if anyone has questions questions, they can put them in the Q&A section. And then when we get to that part of the webinar. And then Lena, I wanted to ask you a question. Lena is actually in the room next to me. We are social studies teachers at Cash, and we have taught next to each other for the last 4 years now. Great department member. She is a wealth of knowledge, and I just wanted to ask you, about the curriculum itself and what it means to you.
I love curriculum. So this course means a lot to me because it's more than just a standards-based, stand in front of the room kind of course. It is actually teaching kids to investigate careers. It's meant to be hands-on learning. It's what education should be striving to and moving towards. I've been with the seniors since ninth grade. Dr. Doan Harley and I traveled with them to earlier History Day competitions. We've taken them to Longwood Gardens to do a behind the scenes tour there. We've taken them to the Union League in Philadelphia. They've done walking tours of the city of Philadelphia to see the history in life, history that's still there. And they talk about why buildings look the way they look. They've talked about why gardens and architecture evolved the way that it has evolved. And hopefully it has inspired them to not only appreciate the rich history of Chester County, but also to look for career paths to follow, because there is so many different careers that history can inform, not just to be a historian, but to be an architect, to be a landscape designer, to do even real estate, transactions. And so there's just so much that this course can inform for students, and hopefully it'll continue to grow and be inspirational. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it.
Thank you. I think we're all excited about it. Before we move on to the question and answer session, I just wanted to thank everyone in this who has been involved in this project, but a special thanks to the Old Caln Historic Society for some of the research documents on the Gardner-Beale house that we were able to access. The Coatesville Metro History project, Jeff Deacon has been a great supporter, and we're going to be pairing up hopefully with them next year to get our kids involved in some of the other historic preservation projects that are going on around the community. And Tony Wagner, the Caln Township Historical Society has been a great resource as well. So I just want to give a special shout out to some of those local groups for their involvement and their continued support. And again, Kathleen, I cannot thank you enough for your support and for helping us make contacts with people. And I'm going to turn it over to you for the question and answer session.
Our first question is, what surprised you most in the assessment of the house?
I'm going to do, can I direct that question to Suzanne?
Certainly.
Well, just like any other old house, we found some surprises, but we just and actually, just like any other building investigation, you see one thing one day and then you're there the second day and you find something that you didn't see before. So we found an old areaway entrance. We found the crawl space under the older section. I think there weren't. The thing is that the building's been modified so many times over the years that we kind of were just scratching our heads to sort of figure out how it's come to its current state. But one of the great things about this is that we created a really great list of questions that the students then can begin answering in the upcoming years.
I can comment on, one of the surprises I think that we saw. We were in the kitchen area of the house, and we were measuring the length of the room, and we decided to tear out a little piece of panel, old wood paneling that was kind of deteriorated and falling apart because we wanted to get an accurate measurement from wall to wall. And underneath that panel was decorative painting. I would not have, noticed that or seen that, but Kathleen and Paul pointed it out. That's a decorative style painting from the early 1800s. And it's underneath all of that wood paneling, because I did a little investigation work. That would be really awesome to pull that out and bring that as a central focus in that room.
We had talked about the possible connection with the Underground Railroad, and rumor has it there was a long tunnel out of the basement leading up to the VA Wooded Hill. Can anybody confirm that or disprove it today?
According to the Chester County Historical Society, that area was not active in the Underground Railroad. At the top of the VA Hill, you do have the Vickers Farm, whose son later moves to what is now Vickers Tavern. They were confirmed spots on the Underground Railroad. The properties, there was a spring over by the football stadium is a marsh. So it's not really an area that would be conducive to digging. But the students are investigating that. Again, not everything was written down, and people weren't quick to say, oh yeah, I helped people escape slavery, because there were repercussions. So there's not a lot of written record, but numerous investigations have kind of said, well, we're going to go to the maybe not, but nothing that is definite either way. And that is something from day one that I challenged the students to try to prove it or disprove it. You guys find out, do some research. Let's see what we can find. There is some area, there's a well There is also root cellaring. Personally, that's a long way through a marsh to dig a tunnel. When it would have been just easier in the cover of darkness. And knowing that what's called the Taylor House that sits on the Brandywine Hospital campus, that is a confirmed Underground Railroad stop, which literally is, I was scared and running 15 minutes up the hill to safety. But we may find that, yeah, it was, but so far, the Kennett Underground Railroad Museum and Chester County Historical Society thing, we haven't seen proof yet.
To follow up that question, Tony Morton of Hayti Historical Society says, wonderful job. Ross Kershey, community historian, is a consultant with you on this project. A video stated no proof the building was part of the Underground Railroad. I thought Mr. Kershey said he saw a tunnel in the basement of the building.
So in the basement of the building, and we saw the frame of a doorway that's been bricked up. And I know that in his History of Coatesville presentation, he talked about a tunnel that was dilapidated and falling apart, and that a maintenance person had called him in to look at the tunnel for one last time because they're going to brick it up. And now we found this frame, this door frame. The door itself is down in the basement. It fits. It's the same size. The latch measures up. We were actually down there looking at it this morning. You know, there's the belief that this door is entrance to a root cellar. I'm not sure what's behind that block. I wasn't around when that was bricked up, but that's something we're going to continue to investigate and see what we can find.
Carrie Avina, has the class learned anything unusual about any of the families that have lived there?
Anybody want to take this? My students?
In year one of the current group that's in year 4, we did some research on Peter Bazilian, which there is a historical marker on Oak and 8th Avenue in Coatesville, where it is presumed that he may have been, to quote the monument, one of the first white settlers to come into that portion of the Great Valley. He was born in Quebec. So we learned a little bit about him. We spent some time learning about what these fur trappers were, what their life was like, and how he would have walked from Quebec down here through Lancaster County. There's a road called Peters Road. It's named for him. It was his trail for traveling. We learned how he was under suspicion by English, that since he spoke French, that he might be working with the French. And at one point, this was the frontier. We did a little bit of work looking at the Gardners and the Beales. We actually had an open house, and the son and granddaughter of Nettie Beale, who was born in the house, and the family would sell it. She's long passed, but would sell it, and they went to live elsewhere. They came to visit, and they told us a couple things about it, that someone had reported there were 2 small headstones, just rocks sitting upright on the property. And there was a story that this was where the enslaved workers were kept. Mrs. Beale had a passion for pugs, little dogs, and her dear sweet little puppies are buried there, and that's their headstones. But they have, I guess through mowing, have been knocked over. We would have to spread out arm to arm to find them. We tried one day and we could not find them. But we found that, you know, people had pets, people loved their pets. And so are we so much different? We talked about, there were 9 different buildings there at one point, a tannery, a wheelwright shop, a blacksmith shop, a weaving place that was, you know, kind of an industrial area. So we talked about all of those different types of jobs that people had. So scratch the surface. There's a lot more for the students to find out about individuals. There were 3 doctors, the Gardners, 3 generations that were doctors that lived there. You also had for a short time that was used by the VA before they sold it to the school district. And there were some doctors from the Veterans Administration who were given that as their housing. So it has, you know, has a distinct medical connection.
The next question is, do you plan on doing any digging as part of this project where some of the outbuildings may have stood?
Yes, we've discussed bringing an architect, or not an architect, sorry, archaeologist in to do a dig. And that's something we're looking into doing next year. Now, where to exactly dig that's another question.
I think maybe some of the students might be able to tell you where, because we discussed where the prime spot is to look. Mariska, Julia, even Layla, Dylan. Where's the best place to look? All right, go ahead.
The place that we would be most likely to find artifacts, or really anything that could tell us about them living at the time or what kind of people they are, would be right out the side door of the kitchen, because they just threw things out of the door and used it as like a trash chute. So that would probably be where most of the artifacts would be found. So if we did an excavation, that would most likely be where we wanted to dig.
Okay, the last question I'm showing is from Janine Groff. How do you promote the class so that other students know what it is and how to sign up?
That's a great question. And you know, one of the things I did this year, as I sent some of the press releases that we've used in the past to some of the teachers in the 8-9 building to try and get some younger students involved and get more students to join the program. This year coming up, we're going to be able to use this video as well to highlight what it is that we do. And that's another reason why this video is going to play a really important role, to be able to show kids, you know, that this is a hands-on course, that this is experiential learning, and that we're taking kids from all walks of life. Where we have, you know, the valedictorian is in this program, but we also have students from all across, you know, the educational spectrum in this course, and it's really awesome to see the mix of students that I have in the classroom and the way that they get along, the way they support each other. And to Lena's vision of it, you know, students using their strengths to support this project in any way, shape, or form. So one student who is not necessarily great in, you know, hitting the books is outside, but they're really good at drawing. And we have a student who this year, and I'll give him a shout out, Stefan. He was just really pivotal in some of the drawings that we've done since we started the survey. And I had no idea he was that skilled, and he got out there and he started doing it, and he was like leading the project. He had kids running around. I need measurements over there. I need you to do this. He's laying in the grass drawing. You probably saw him in the video, but just to see someone like that step up, and everyone played a different role. Everyone plays a different role. So, you know, letting kids know that this is not going to be your average history class is where we start. And then it's going to be, you know, you're going to have fun doing it as well.
One more question. I was surprised to hear about the enslaved living in Coatesville. Is there any information about their lives?
About 15 years ago, the Chester County Historical Society did a very detailed investigation, township by township and borough by borough, of tracking down, and virtually every governmental entity, every borough or township in Chester County had enslaved workers. Other areas began to do away with it, to go to emancipation by pressure from the Quakers, but there are even records of Quakers who had enslaved workers. That was digital at one point, And then there was a little controversy. So you have to go to the Historical Society to find those records because Coatesville is somewhat of a closed community. My family has lived in Coatesville since 1714. And, you know, people were finding, oh my gosh, you know, family members. So they kind of pulled it away. You can still find it. But the interesting thing was that every township, there, East Fallowfield Township where I live, and I was really interested in that. There were 4 enslaved workers here. They also broke it down between indentured servants as well as enslaved workers. I know Mr. Kershey's work, he talks about certain buildings in the city of Coatesville that he was able to find records that enslaved workers actually helped with, you know, did part of the construction. So it's an untapped story. It's a huge portion of America's history. And a lot of times people are like, oh, no, we didn't have that here. We had it everywhere. So that is another area that the students can look into to find more information. I know that one of the people that Peter Bazilian, he emancipated in his will. And I was able to find that because some paperwork went on sale on eBay. And there were letters from Bazilian's daughter in Quebec to her father. But the gentleman's last name was Glass. And the last thing in the 1930s, it said that he still had descendants who were living in the Coatesville area. I haven't been able to connect the two to really say if that's true or not. But the historian who had written that part said that, you know, they were able to connect it to families that were still in the area.
Great. And as we're coming on to do the closing, what if someone in the community would like to offer their services to the project that's going on? Whom would they contact?
They could contact myself, and my email is tassonij@casdschools.org. It's tassonij@casdschools.org. We're always looking to pair with people, and I've been facilitating and organizing different people coming in to help us with this project. So any kind of help, financial support, it's absolutely welcome.
So with that, we're going to start our closing and thank everyone for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed tonight's program as much as we did, as we discovered the incredible work of these historical research and preservation class students who are working to preserve the historic Gardner-Beale house on the Coatesville Area School District campus. We extend our sincere gratitude and congratulations to Mr. Tassoni, his students, and all the adults that are working with him. See this project to fruition. We couldn't be more pleased. And Jim, take it away.
Please note that our team, CCHNP, will take the summer off, and then we're going to be doing a virtual series in June, July, and August, because the team is working on with Chester County Planning Commission, heading towards Freedom Town Tours and Village Walks programs, which begins on June 17th and continue throughout the summer. Check out the Chester County Planning Commission's website for the schedule. Our virtual Heritage Series programs will resume again in September on the third Thursday live at 5. Until the next time, have a sensational summer and good night.
So long.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.